Hello, and welcome to Dungeon Mastering Videos. I'm your host and resident nerd watcher, Nicholas DiPetrillo. Today we're going to be talking about World of Warcraft, and specifically how you can use it to help your Dungeons & Dragons game. Now, I know there's a lot of mixed feelings in the gaming community about World of Warcraft. Some people find it a fun diversion. Others a pointless grind. Still others think it's even worse, an addiction that destroys lives. And some people feel that it steals players away from tabletop gaming. My personal feelings is that it's fun. It's different from Dungeons & Dragons. It's more similar to reading a fantasy novel. In both of those cases, you're exploring someone else's world. In Dungeons & Dragons, you're helping to shape your own. It's a different kind of fun than D&D, but I enjoy them both. Regardless of how you feel about World of Warcraft, there's some tips you can take from it to improve your Dungeons & Dragons game. First, morality isn't black and white. The Horde would be considered the bad guys of World of Warcraft, but even they have their own reasons for doing things. Orcs may be ruthless at times, and warrior-like, but they also have a shamanistic culture. They have their own traditions and values, and they fight for their own survival. Their allies, the Tauren, are actually rather peaceful and nature-loving, but they owe the Orcs for past help. So they align themselves with what the other side considers evil. The Blood Elves are doing what is necessary to survive after the destruction of their homeland. So although they're considered the evil races, they have their own reasons for doing things, which is true to real life, and it should be in your Dungeons & Dragons game. People don't do things because they're evil. They do evil things for a reason. It may not be considered a good reason, there may have been a better way to handle the situation, but it makes sense to them. Only the truly insane do mean things just to be a bad person. They do it to advance themselves in some way. Another thing you can learn from World of Warcraft is to include several important figures in a dungeon. Traditionally in D&D, there's a big boss at the end of a dungeon, and everyone looks forward to fighting him. If you play World of Warcraft, anytime you run an instance dungeon, there'll be several named figures, sub-bosses, going throughout it, that you need to fight. Sub-bosses make the fights feel more diverse and organic. It's one thing to fight a group of hobgoblins 3 times over. But if the third time there's a hobgoblin named Hogar the Destroyer, who has some slightly different abilities, or maybe has an elite template applied to him, the fight will feel more unique. Another thing you can take from WoW dungeons is spread the treasure around. A lot of times dungeon masters will just dump it all after the final boss. But if you spread it around, you can use it to fight the other bosses in the dungeon and complete the adventure. It also feels more like a boon to the individual character when they get it, other than a bookkeeping thing that they need to sort out at the very end. Players will get the items when they're still excited in the middle of a dungeon. Sub-bosses are a good place to dump a little bit of the treasure. You can spread it out among the different bosses of the fight, so it still feels important and like they earned it when they get it. But they get it throughout, while they still have their energy level up. You may notice in World of Warcraft that before you get a quest to fight a dungeon boss, you do a line of quests. During the quest line, you learn a little bit about the boss. You get to see what they're doing and what motivates them, and why they need to be killed. In Dungeons & Dragons, we have a tendency to just dump a bunch of exposition about how this person is so mean and how they need to be destroyed. But the players never get to see it or find out for themselves. If you do a lead-up and let them learn about the person and learn about their ill deeds, it feels a lot more satisfying when they destroy them. Another thing you can learn from World of Warcraft is that there's no reason to limit the players to one quest at a time. In WoW, you'll usually be doing several quests in any given area. In Dungeons & Dragons, we typically go in with one main adventure. Kill this boss, get this item, but you can interweave them. Maybe this person has taken some hostages, so in addition to beating them, you need to rescue them. Maybe he's got a piece of knowledge that you need to learn from him, or perhaps he has an artifact hidden away somewhere. You can put several quests together to make it feel like the characters have accomplished more, differentiate missions from each other, and be able to give out a little more quest experience and level your characters a bit faster. So, regardless of how you feel about World of Warcraft, those tips should improve your game. If you happen to be one of those who likes World of Warcraft, you can join us dungeon mastering folks in playing it. We have our own guild called the Legions of XP on the Kul Tiras server. If you'd like to get in, you can just contact Ursine or Cordier. Send me an email and I'll make sure that you get in. Until next time, good luck and good rolling.